But yeah, man, following your stuff's been so cool, and I really appreciate you taking the time to sort of like answer these questions. I'm not sure. I know you've been following some of the stuff with NYP, but kind of what our thing is and my thing with people is everyone's definition of what success is different. So like
Yeah,
your definition of success with regards to all of the NYP areas is going to be so different just because
yeah,
it's your own definition.
yeah,
So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk to you today was just to kind of get an insight into. So the six areas for NYP, they're health and fitness. And if you don't mind, I'd like just to just go through them with you, and you just
yeah,
like just talk and explain to you what success looks like for them. Because I know you've got a lot of other stuff going on that you balance with your training, you know, to make it feasible as well. Because it's not like massive paychecks are being thrown around all the time. Even on the undercard and higher level fights, they're not like you're not
no,
getting blessed with money all the time.
no, no, that is one of the main problems, mate. Yeah.
So, well, that's cool. And so, with regards to I'll just go through the list. So, with regards to like health and fitness, then, what does success look like for you with regards to your approach to it? Obviously, it's quite hard because that ties in pretty closely with your career. But for you yourself, what does it mean? How do you know you're having a successful week or a successful day with regards to your health and fitness? How does that kind of look for you?
Um, I'm always setting myself targets for a start. So a new kind of way of thinking that I've brought in is every night when I train, I'm almost instead of worrying about what other people are doing, I'm focusing on myself and almost scoring myself out of 10.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, so it's kind of like obviously you're not going to be a 9, 8, or 10 every night, are you? You're
No.
going to have nights when you're 6, but I'm trying to basically average it at the minute. So I'm going to say to myself, oh, I'm aiming for that 7 minimum.
Yeah, yeah.
And obviously you have these nights where yeah, you turn up and you probably think to yourself that's probably a 5 there.
Yeah.
But I just find it's a way of sort of motivating myself just to push myself the whole time. And yeah, I find it's kind of working as well. Someone first mentioned that way of thinking to me about 2 months back, and I didn't really listen to it. And then I thought to myself, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
It does motivate you in a strange way because you'll be halfway through a session thinking, yeah, I'm probably on a 5 at the minute. Then you'll up it just to
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
yeah,
And that's the thing, because then for you, you'll then start going after the stronger guys within that session to make sure you up your game.
yeah,
And that's the
absolutely.
thing, like, because obviously in the situation you're in, it's very unique because this is what you do. You'll have guys who come in who, in that single discipline, whether it's stand up, ground, whatever it is, striking, you know, you'll mix it with the bigger boys and the stronger boys just in that one area. But you're looking, like you say, for that consistent across all of the
Everything. Yeah,
areas.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
cool.
I mean, like, it's the hard thing as well because we've got some guys who just train BJJ up there, so
Yeah.
their game's better than mine.
Yeah.
But it's kind, but then it's like I'm heavily into my striking. I always have been. So for me, with my striking, I'm always kind of
Yeah.
high in the class. But it's when I get to that jiu-jitsu and then the other disciplines we drill, there's guys that are a lot better than myself in there. So I have to sort of push myself against them. That's what keeps you going. I went for a phase of almost getting a bit down about it, like, oh, I should be better than everyone at everything. But then you come to understand that you actually can't be.
No, you got to be. It's good, yeah. It's good to find that place where you're like, yeah, I'm not happy with just being at this level. But yeah, especially with, because I suppose fighters have their sort of like preferences, don't they? So like you talk about striking. So then in your brain, you can almost give yourself too much of a hard time about BJJ or your ground, where actually you then just need to make sure that complements your striking. You know, so for
Absolutely.
you, that sort of like scoring system is perfect because then you know when you're doing the ground, you can say, right, because this is my weakness, I need to up my efforts.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to look at it. That's really cool because, like you say, you're then looking for if you can be consistent across the board, and you'll always be your biggest critic as well. You know.
Yeah. I mean, like, it actually has been a problem of mine where I'm. Anyone will tell you who trains with me, my coaches, I'm so harsh on myself to the point that I'll get myself down about things.
Yeah.
And that's where someone said to me, like, look, you don't need to be the best at every single area. You're trying to better everyone the whole time. You've got people down there that don't even focus on striking. They just do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's all they care about. They'll go home and watch jiu-jitsu on TV. They'll watch the tournaments. I don't do that. So it's like, how can you, when someone's into something that much, how can you expect, whilst you're training all these other things, to be as good as them? So now I kind of understand that a little bit. And it's hard to accept. It still is. But it's just kind of like...
Yeah, I can, having done, well, very, very small, like when I used to roll when I was at uni, it was all BJJ. And you go to guys who've been doing this since they were 10. You know, we had a guy who'd come over and was part of the Gracie sort of tutorial base over here. And it was, you just regularly get your ass handed to you. And then you'd be like, why do I come along to this? But like you say, it's these guys, this is what they've done since they were 10 or whatever. But you're using it to complement the rest of your sort of like repertoire, aren't you? That's cool. So do you take like, with regards to nutrition and food, do you take like a specific approach to what you do, or do you just go very much on feel, or is there like some staples that you always make sure you get in during the day?
Regarding my diet, so I've just had a nutritionist at my last fight camp. There's so much information floating around there the whole time on how we should do things.
Yeah.
But I'm now going to try and keep my weight a little bit closer to my fight weight now.
Right.
I'm going to try and maybe walk around maybe 76 kilograms because I fight at 70.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 6 kilograms out because usually before my last fight I was maybe 78, 79, 3 weeks out.
That's a lot.
So it was such a big drop. But so I am now eating a lot cleaner than I was before. Maybe not cleaner actually. I'd say not as much.
Right.
But not to the point where it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I just got to keep like tabs a little bit more on what I'm eating.
Yeah.
And obviously I can eat a little bit of what I like.
Yeah, you've got to find that balance between how it makes you feel upstairs to how it impacts your body as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like last time, like I said, 3 weeks out from that fight, I was 79 kilograms.
That's a massive drop.
Yeah, and it's finding that balance. It really is. I've tried it so many different ways, and I probably think, just staying at 76 will just make it a lot easier on your body every time you come to cut. Yeah,
because there's that shock, and your body will like potentially go into sort of like starvation and shutdown mode if you're dropping that much that quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't need that. Oh, that's really, you don't need that before you go into a fight. That's cool. So then I'll just go through like the other dimensions then. So with regards to then your family. So do you have a girlfriend or a partner or?
Yeah, I have a girlfriend. It's been 13 years I've been with her. Right.
Is that because she's there in the background and you just have to check how long you've been with her?
No, she's at work.
So how does that balance then? How do you balance what you're doing with making sure that you're still offering good time to your family, but whether your girlfriend, but other family as well? How do you balance that? What does that look like for you?
So this is a hard one as well. It's kind of she goes to work at 8 every morning, so I'm sort of out the door at the same time. She comes back from work. I'm obviously not there because my classes in the afternoon start probably about 5 o'clock and run through to maybe 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So it is one of them. I come home most nights. It's like an hour where you just sort of sit there, chill out, and then go to bed. But the way I get around that is just every Sunday, I just make sure we do something together, sort of have a bit of our own time. And that's why I enjoy Sunday so much, because you can just chill out and not have to think about what's going on so much.
Yeah, you need that, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's quite important. I think, it's amazing what she does, really, because I think a lot of other girls would have just, a long time ago, would have been like, nah, this isn't working. Because it is almost like being obsessed. Like, it makes me laugh. I hear people go on about, my boyfriend goes to the gym all the time, lifting weights, and I always think, oh yeah, what an arsehole. But then suddenly I'm like, hang on, I'm doing the same thing. But I don't think it, because I'm thinking of it like mine's work.
It's a job, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's kind of, it's one of those things, but she's very understanding. She does my meal preps for me as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So she does get involved quite a bit, which is awesome,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, well, I think like you say, it's if you can find someone who can have that sort of participation as well, but then still be able to like go away and do her own thing, but come back and be supportive. I think that's like very lucky, like you say.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's such a help. Yeah.
That's cool. So some of the other ones then, like we talk about sort of getting stressed. So we call it sort of psychological well-being, mental health well-being. So for you then, how do you know you're in a good place? You talked a little bit earlier about like confidence and giving yourself a hard time. What is there anything that you do specifically, or how do you know when you're in a good place upstairs, whether it's in regards to your training or your competing? What does that look like for you? Are you able to like recognize when you're either giving yourself a hard time or you know you're in a good place?
Well, it's a hard one again because I'm always competing with myself. Like I said, I'm always setting myself targets. Um, it's strange. I always find maybe when I get to a Thursday, because you've had quite a hard week up to that point.
Yeah.
And Thursday's a very hard session. Usually, if I come away from Thursday and I feel like I've had a good session, that for some reason mentally makes me feel, yeah, I'm at the right place, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like because it's been so heavy till then, Thursday becomes your like breakthrough session where it either goes one of two ways.
Yeah.
That's
what I mean. I get to a Thursday sometime, and if I don't have a good session, it really bothers me. I walk away and think, and it feels like it's I've kind of ruined. Like the whole week wasn't that good, but it's not. It's
obviously that's not the case. Yeah.
But yeah, that's how like I sort of judge my. It's strange. Like you can't explain these things. It's just what it is.
Yeah, no, and it's and that's the great thing. That's why I love to get different people's interpretation of it because it's so different for what everyone does. But do you do anything? Do you have any like routines or anything you do daily that you know is going to set yourself up for a good training session or a good day's work? Do you have anything that you do, or do you look at stuff, or do you have targets or plans or anything like that?
No, not really. Not really. I just approach every training session the same. Like no matter what sport I've ever done, I've always tried to train 100%. And it's the same with this sport. I just turn up and I just think to myself, I'm not bothered about what other people are doing now. I just have to, like I said, out of 10, judging myself, try and get that 7s, 8s, or above.
Yeah.
But it's just there's nothing I really actually do before. So it's just it's a strange one that.
Well, no, I think like you say though, you probably do more than you give yourself credit for. You just don't realise you're doing it. Because that focusing and that scoring system, that's a big deal. That's shown that you've understood what it takes for you to then have a good training session.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's wicked, man. So, a couple of the other areas then we've got. So we looked at health and fitness, your family, psychological well-being. We sort of talked about. Other areas include. So obviously this is your job, your like career. So. And you do some stuff alongside it as well. I'm not sure as much as what you were doing before because I know you were doing some modelling stuff and some other stuff with clothing brands and stuff like that. How do you then, for yourself, how does that look with regards to when it's close to training, competing, family time? How do you try and work out that balance?
I think it works quite well doing that kind of work. I was doing a lot of building work before, and I used to get to training in the afternoons and just be like mentally and physically exhausted.
Yeah.
And then I kind of realised I wasn't getting the most out of the training sessions. It would get later on in the night when we were drilling technique, and I wouldn't be absorbing it. I'd be listening to what's being said. I'll go away and be so tired that I'm not even thinking about what we've done in the session. So it was very, very draining. Started doing a bit more of the other kind of work, like clothing brands, this, that, and the other, on the side. And I just find with that, it complements what you do a lot better because you're not physically tired from it, and it almost fits in quite nicely with building yourself as a brand because people see this stuff. And it's mad. So people see this stuff on Instagram and go, "Oh, that's quite cool," and then they start following you. So it's almost like attracting people to what you do.
Well, yeah, especially like building, because ultimately you are building a brand, aren't you? You're building yourself as the brand, but then also that person that competes. Because you can still be an ultimate sort of like contender in whatever category you're fighting at. But then if you've got a really good tight brand image, you know, that makes you desirable to brands, to like clothing lines, you know, for sponsorship and stuff like that. And you've definitely got like that charismatic sort of like side to it as well, which can almost be as important because you need one to help complement your training, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, I know that I'm a product, essentially. I know I have to be sellable. For instance, there's hundreds of fighters in the UK who are very good, but then a lot of them are boring. And this is the thing: it's you've got to be sellable. You have to, like I said, I am a product. You have to have something about you. For instance, like a lot of people go, "Oh, what's the Tash thing all about?" This happened. I've done the whole Movember thing.
Yeah.
A while back, and I had the fight, and obviously the next fight I had, I didn't have it, and a few people coming up to me in the crowd going, "Oh, where's the Tash? Like, we really liked it."
Yeah.
And so from that point, it's kind of, they look really disappointed that I almost didn't have it. So then I was like, all right, we'll grow the Tash, and it's become such a thing now that it's almost like, oh, it's the guy with the every time I fight. And
it's such a good, because it fits in with your, like you say, that sellable brand, that character that you sort of like represent before. And like you say, you're totally right. You can have like guys who are great at fighting, but their whole other side of it is boring and people are not interested. You know, unfortunately, in like a market, well, in any market nowadays, it's about what you can do and then what you can actually represent away from it as well. Like you say, because you're sellable as well, aren't you? But yeah, I think the Tash and the beard things definitely, it sits well with that whole sort of build up pre-fight sort of like situation, and then if and when you're successful after, it complements straight away, doesn't it? No, it is. It's definitely.
I mean, look, I know guys who you know, literally they're easily good enough to be in the UFC easily.
Yeah.
And they would do very well, but it's that same thing. They've actually been told, some of them, they're like, man, like, are you like they've been almost been told like you're not that sellable.
Yeah, well, because
and as bad as that sounds, it's like, mate, like that's when it's kind of like, yeah, you have to do something.
I mean,
put yourself out there.
Yeah, you look at any of the look at any of the champions or any of the good fighters over the last 10 years. They're characters, you know. You can't tell I couldn't tell you the guy who Chuck Liddell beat in Vegas. Jeremy Horn, that was his name. But do you know what I mean? He was some boring Bart Simpson looking kind of guy who had no like sellable like anything about him. But Chuck, guys like Tito Ortiz, characters, you know, there's so much more alongside what they were doing. And yeah, it's definitely something that you've cottoned onto. And from a career perspective, you know, using to benefit what your situation is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I've used it in the past to get myself fights as well.
Yeah.
I know people similar level to myself. They're looking for a fight above themselves. They've asked for the fight, and the organisation said no. Like, I'm pretty sure that just through my social media and stuff, I could probably get any fight I want in the UK. That's
that's a good way to pitch it as well. You know, well, and that's the thing. Even if it's not you, but someone's like, who's this guy? Like this arrogant guy telling you that. If that still gets you the fight, it's done exactly what you wanted it to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So one of the other dimensions that we talk about, and I can imagine it fits in nicely with the career, is sort of the wealth side of it. So obviously, I'm not into. I want to get into specifics for you, but with regards to obviously. Money is hard to get from any professional sport. I can imagine it's super hard with what you're doing. But do you set yourself like financial targets with regards to what you're doing from fights, or what you're doing with regards to work alongside? Do you have like in your mind, right, I need to achieve this amount so I can continue training, or I need to do this to make sure that I'm in a good place moving forward? Do you sort of like consciously use that idea to make sure you're in a good situation as a whole?
Yeah. I had this discussion literally last week with my manager.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like I have, and now this is going off a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like as an athlete, I have the natural ability. This is what I said to him, to go fight at the highest level.
Yeah.
The problem is, it's almost like I need the funding and money to get the top training and top facilities, this, that, and whatever, so I can actually compete with these guys. It's almost like you've bred it. Like it's not me being big-headed. It's like you've bred a racehorse, but you've got it not training right.
You almost need the pre-investment.
Yeah. So it's kind of, for me, I said, we've now put together a kind of target. Look, I need this to cover my bare essentials every month. Anything on top of that now is a plus.
Yeah.
But I've included into the essentials now, training. I've got my personal trainer I've been with. I need to be doing more with him, is what I said. I need to be doing 3 sessions a week with this guy.
Yeah.
So now I've had to think about a way of funding that.
Yeah.
I've had to think about a way of funding a physio. We brought a physio in, so every week now I'm getting a couple of treatments a week, because you can't perform at your highest without seeing a physio, a sports therapist.
Yeah.
You're working so hard, you come away, you get aches, and you come away, you might pull the muscle a little bit, and so your next session, you're not doing 100%. So this is kind of, and the management I've got is great, because I won't say they're up and coming, because they already are up there, but the way he's approaching things is very different to a lot of managers within my sport. He's almost doing it now like football players or...
So that forward thinking.
Sorry?
That forward thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's trying to put together a team for all of his athletes, where there's 9 people involved. So you've got these people like, I don't know, like physios. You've got everything that you need. But like I said, regarding the money, I have to cover my basics.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to just be, this is the problem with it, you don't want to be living on basics, because then it makes your life not great. I still want to be doing things, I still want to be buying things. So that's where I am still trying to pull in like these little jobs on the side. Like, I have to do them at this stage. Like, I'll be stupid to try and live off the fight money alone.
Yeah.
So he's putting in funding as well. Like,
That's
we've got a few
cool.
sponsors coming in, which a massive help.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, my money in my mind at this current stage isn't so much like, oh, I want to be earning all this money. I want to be getting enough money so I can fully focus on what I want to do.
Yeah.
Training
you're
wise. And
investing
for me,
in
if I
yourself.
get at that stage, I'm happy with that. Then I'll look at the next.
Well, I suppose it's for you as well, and it's such a thing in the UK. We hate talking about money anyway. You know, it's like nobody likes to talk about it, but unfortunately, you can't do anything without it. You know, like, especially.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could be like as altruistic as you want, and be like, I don't need money. I can just go and live somewhere. But if you want to do stuff, have an impact, and have like a greater reach and impact on people, you do need to have that sort of like financial capital or savings and stuff. But no, it's cool that you're now sort of like planning that with your manager as well, because that then shows his interest, but it's balanced off with where you are right now. Because I think sometimes people can be a bit unrealistic as well. But then also the other end, they're like, oh, I daren't do it. I daren't take that step. You know, I'm sure you'll know fighters who are like, nah, I just can't commit enough time, and be like, because of the finances. Whereas, do you know what? Sometimes you need to just grin and bear it for a little bit of an investment in yourself, and then see where you can go.
I mean, this is the thing that's happened. I've signed with this manager beginning of this year, and he said to me, I want you to go full-time. I want this to be a full-time job. Yeah. And at the time, I had just, within what I was doing, I'd just been offered a very good opportunity. And it's probably the most money I've ever been making, what I was doing at the time. Yeah. And that was a real moment where I was thinking, do I really want to be doing this at this point? And I had to weigh up in my own mind, what would I be doing if I wasn't doing it? Would I be happy? And I realised straight away, if I wasn't doing what I do, I probably would go a bit insane. And then kind of realised that, I love this. This is what I want to do. So I've almost had to, it was crazy. I remember walking to the office of where I was working and going, I can't accept this new job. And if I could have recorded it, they would just looked at me and they just went, why? And it's like, it was a hard one. I had to explain it to them, and I left on good terms. They're still like, if ever, if you want to come back, that's fine. So it's all cool. But I sort of set myself maybe 2 years. I'm gonna go at it like this. If it takes off, and it works, then then happy days. If it doesn't, then at least I can look back and go, well, at least I tried, opposed to being one of these people who was like, oh, I used to do a bit of
Yeah. I
fighting.
could have done
You know
this.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So then at least I can go, yeah, I actually went full time. I gave it my all. If I wasn't good enough, I wasn't good enough. But I fully believe in myself. So it's just, I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to come, and then I'm confident that it will take off from things that I've been offered. So it's just kind of...
yeah, massively. I mean, if you look at like sort of the trajectory recently, I mean, obviously, you sort of came onto my radar like last year. Drew had mentioned to you another guy I know, Stephen Duran, who does the stuff down in London. He'd mentioned you in a complete separate conversation we were having, and I was just like, and then you started to pop up, but then like, I think for you, making that mental shift to say, do you know what? And it's good to have that conversation with yourself as well and be like, if I wasn't doing this, would I be happy? And I think there's a lot of people who aren't prepared to have that conversation with themselves. You know, they just play it safe, whether it's society says they should play it safe or whatever. Whereas, yeah, you want to be able to look back and be like, I did it. You know, I went full time. I gave it my all, be it what it was. You've got to look back and go, do you know what? I did that. Rather than, yeah, I could have done that. Or maybe I should have. Yeah, never want to look back on that. That's really cool, man. That sort of fits in nicely to the last one. And the last one talks about sort of self-actualization. So it's learning new skills, improving yourself, and working on yourself as a whole. Are there things that you do sort of away from your training, your fighting, that you feel sort of help improve you just as a person in general? You know, like for that, if I was to meet you for the first time, didn't know you were a fighter, I'd be like, this is a good guy, principles, nice guy, you know, a guy you can speak to. Do you do anything sort of away from the fight scene that sort of like helps you stay, whether it's grounded, or do you like, are you trying to learn to play the guitar or something, do you know, like something else away from what you're doing that just sort of keeps you in that good strong place upstairs?
That's really weird you say it. I have just started learning the guitar. That's really strange. I've literally got it sitting right over there on a drum kit.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I skate as well.
I saw some of that.
Yeah, my manager goes mad about it because it's just obviously the risks. But do you know what? I'm not even good at skating, but I enjoy going there because it's something very different from what I do. It's really chilled out. You go to like these skate parks. I go to one in Brighton. It's just a nice scene to be around.
Brighton.
I'll go there for the day. Yeah,
Brighton's good for that. Yeah, I used to go and play basketball on the court down there. That was good for that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that whole area, I just love chilling out and just, you meet people who are very, very different to yourself when you obviously skate.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like, I enjoy that. It's just, I like doing things where you meet people who are very different to yourself. Yeah, it's just, I really do enjoy that. It's, I do a few things like similar to that, where like other sports and stuff like that. Obviously I play football because I used to as well. That's another thing. But it's all quite revolving around sport still. But I like chilling out.
What is
a bit of skating.
Yeah, that disconnect from what you have to do full time, you know, which doubles up as time for yourself, time to sort of like get different parts of your brain and your body working, you know, so then when you go back to your job, your relationship, whatever, you're a bit more switched on, you know, because you've had some time for yourself. Yeah,
absolutely. You've got to.
That's cool.
You have to be able to switch your mind off of it from what you do, because otherwise it does drive you a little bit crazy. You know, like I was saying, on a Sunday when I go around with my missus and just chill out, you have to have that time where you're not thinking about it, not being in that gym the whole time. Because I'm in there a lot. Like I was saying, it's my job as well. I run classes in there. I run kids classes and ladies kickboxing classes, and you're in that gym a lot. So it's
24/7.
Keep yourself.
No, that's cool. So my last sort of question then is, so MYP stands for Maximise Your Potential. So for you then, what does it mean to MYP for you? What does it mean for you to maximise your potential? What does that look like?
To maximise my potential, just to be the best that I can be. That would be me maximising my potential. I want to be the best type of myself. I want to be in my mind thinking, yes, you've you're where you need to be. Look, it's a strange one because it's I think for me to be actually successful, which like in my mind, which I'm still trying to work out, it's I almost want people to recognise what I do and always say to me, like it's martial arts. You're building a game. You're taking little bits from every martial art, putting it together. Now, there's thousands of ways you can do this. Yeah. I want people to look at my game and go to me, yeah, that's good. What you're doing is the right way. Now, this is the problem. People are never going to give you that.
Yeah,
it's like McGregor. It's like Mayweather. Yeah, they're technically amazing, but people are always going to go, nah, this person does it better, or you're not quite doing this. You need to be better at this. And it's a hard one because you're always looking for that. You want people to say to you, yeah, look at what you're doing. Go, yeah, that's perfect. That's the perfect game.
Perfect for you.
Yeah. So you're striving for something that maybe you probably never get, but
well, that becomes part of the journey, doesn't it? You know, like you say, if you were never to get to that destination, but be constantly having that approach where you are refining, perfecting, constantly trying to find that thing for you. And that's why I love speaking to people like you, and I've done a couple of other interviews with some people as well, and it's so different.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it, nobody can argue with you and say, no, that's not how it's supposed to be, Tom. It's like, no, that's exactly how it is for you, and it's really cool, and I can't wait to share this with people as well, because I know a lot of people I work with struggle to have even an understanding of what it means for themselves to be the best version of themselves. You know, they're too busy trying to chase something else or be like somebody else, or should I do this because somebody else might think different of me? But actually to be like, do you know what, I'm just going to work on what I'm good at, do me, and then everything else will sort of fall into place.
Yeah, I mean, like in an ideal world, I would be like picture perfect in my mind. I'll be at a stage where I've made enough money where I could just train, do whatever I want. That's not a problem. I'm comfortable with money through what I've done.
Yeah.
And obviously, family life's good. That's like the ideal picture where it's just like, you know, you can do it. You're not having to worry about like, shit, I'm a bit low on money because of this. That's the main worry. But not like I have that problem. But you think to yourself, if I carried on like this, would that happen?
Yeah.
So in an ideal world, you want to be comfortable with money so that you can train. It isn't an issue. So that you can just get on with what you want to do what makes you happy. Always improve. So
no, that's really cool, man. That's wicked. That's a cool place to finish that. Thank you very much, man. That's
not a problem, mate.
That's really cool. So what I'll do is I'll edit this up and then I'll send it to you so you can like check it out. And I'm gonna release it out to sort of the clients that I work with on a one-to-one basis, and then I'm just gonna put little snippets and stuff on Instagram and stuff like that. So I'll tag you in it and then you can see it, because it's a really, really cool interview. Even if the visuals don't come out perfect, I'll still get the content out because I think what you've got to say is super valuable, even from people who don't fight or don't train. You know, just that approach and attitude to being, well, like I said, the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your time training and sort of sharing that stuff with me. And what I'll have to do is, next time I'm down, it's funny, I was clearing out some of my stuff yesterday and I found an old pair of, an old rash guard and some shorts. So I'm like, next time I'm down in East Grinstead, I'm going to go and find Tom and I'm going to make sure he's had a really, really hard training week. And then I'm just going to roll. But no, I'll have to dig out some kit and see if I can get Drew along as well, because he usually likes to train a bit more in the off season.
Yeah, mate, you're more than welcome. Anytime you're down, mate, you come to the gym. Like I said, we're friendly enough.
Nah, definitely.
There's no idiots down there, so yeah, that's what I mean. Come down,
that's
mate.
Cool. What I'm also going to do as well, just where I work in this shared working space, there's a company called Apothecary 87. They're a beard and moustache oil company. So check them out. But the guy who owns them just works in the office across. But he's always looking for new models and for new people. So I'm going to buzz in your details because it fits in. If you check them out, Apothecary 87, your sort of like old school like pugilist thing fits in with their they have this sort of theme that runs through the sort of prohibition era. You know, that's their theme. So what I'll do is I'm going to buzz them some stuff. So if you've got any, I'll get your email address and I'll buzz them. So if you've got anything that I can send to them, I'll put them in contact with you. But there's some good stuff there. I think because you've already done a bit of modelling as well, they're always looking for people to link up with. But I'll forward some stuff on mine because it's always good to, especially guys like you, because like good people.
That's cool.
Things.
Thank you,
but,
man. I appreciate that.
I'll forward that on. But yeah, I really appreciate your time today. That's really cool. Yeah, man. So what have you got planned for the rest of the day? You training this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm just going to go and grab a bite to eat now, and I'm going to go for a 5K run. And then I'm going to do some weights after that, then have a slight rest. Then I've got my evening classes from 5:30 to 9:30.
Nice, man.
Yeah, busy day.
Yeah, man, cool. Well, like I say, I'll keep you posted on how this works out. And then, if you don't mind as well, we've got like a bit of a new MYP product that I'm rolling out. But I'd love to put you through the mixer and sort of get your results back through and just share them with you anyway, because I think there'll be some like useful stuff for you, because like you say, you are obviously a professional athlete, but for you as well, you still need to have those healthy boundaries, you know, between what you're doing and getting yourself in a good place. But yeah, it'd be cool to put you through that MYP process and share that stuff with you, because you can always, and you know this more than anyone, you can always find those little bits to work on which can help yourself moving forward.
Mate, you can do whatever you want with this. I mean, like, I love watching your stuff. I'll sit here, and you're looking after my missus. I'll sit there on the sofa in the afternoon, and I'll put on what you've been doing. I'll sit there and watch the whole thing. I think it's great.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, carry on, mate. It's honestly, it's awesome. You can do whatever you want with.
Cool.
If,
well,
if you need anything more, if you want to get hold of certain people, maybe through the industry, let me know.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm always looking. I just want to make this a thing now, where I just reach out and speak to as many different people, because people's definition of success is different, you know. So people's talk about success with regards to what their family is different to other people.